When their mom split the inheritance, the daughter got one thing, their dad's military medal. The son got $10 million. Everyone expected her to lose it. Instead, she just said, fine. Because she remembered the last thing her dad ever said to her. I'll make sure you're taken care of. The second she agreed, her mom whipped out a pre-drafted agreement and pushed her to sign immediately. She picked it up, and her stomach dropped. Every page was designed to make her forfeit all rights to her dad's entire estate. She looked up at her mom, her brother, and her sister-in-law all laughing like she wasn't even in the room, like she'd never been part of this family, and still, she signed without hesitation. Because she trusted her dad. Growing up, she'd long since accepted her mom's blatant favoritism. Every good thing in this house always went to her brother first. Always. At dinner as a kid, the chicken drumstick was always reserved for her brother. Mom always said boys need extra nutrition, never once noticing the longing in her daughter's eyes. But her dad always remembered. When mom wasn't looking, he'd quietly slide his own drumstick into her bowl and watch her scarf it down with nothing but love in his eyes. When her brother started high school, mom paid his tuition without blinking. But when it was her turn, her mom flipped the script. Said girls didn't need school and she should just go get a job. She was on the verge of tears, but her dad quietly pulled out money he'd been secretly saving for a long time and paid her tuition without saying a word to anyone. She knew her dad didn't have much say in this house. Everything went through mom. But not once in her entire life had he ever let her down. Not once. So when her mom announced her brother was getting everything, $10 million, and she was getting one medal, she said yes. Even through the heartbreak, she told herself there was no rush. Her dad had never lied to her, and he wasn't about to start now, even from beyond the grave. Her mom couldn't believe she caved that fast, and was absolutely thrilled. She immediately threw a dinner celebration at home to toast her son's brand new millionaire status. At the table, her sister-in-law made a big show of serving her husband food, then loudly announced that he'd worn himself out caring for their dad at the hospital, so this inheritance was totally earned. That was the last straw. She'd been holding it together for so long, but that lie pushed her over the edge. She called it out right then and there. Mom, in the 6 months Dad was hospitalized, my brother visited exactly 3 times. He showed up the first 2 months, and then just stopped coming. Meanwhile, she worked a full shift every day, and then rushed straight to the hospital every single night, feeding him, giving meds, wiping him down, turning him over. She never missed a night. And her brother didn't contribute a single dollar to the medical bills. She borrowed money from everyone she knew and racked up $200,000 in debt just to cover his treatment. Her brother's face went beet red, totally caught out. And sure enough, before he could even speak, their mom jumped in immediately to cover for him. She said her son was swamped at work. He couldn't just quit to play nurse. His wife had a job too. And besides, a daughter taking care of her father is just what you're supposed to do. Nothing to complain about. Then the rest of the family piled on, calling her petty, saying she had no family loyalty. Her brother, embarrassed and furious, accused her of just being bitter about the inheritance split. He flat out told her this was all their dad's decision to begin with, so she had no right to be ungrateful about it. You already signed the papers. Doesn't matter how you feel about it now. Her uncle chimed in too, saying she was a daughter after all. She'd be married off sooner or later, and her brother was the backbone of this family. The money belonged to him. Finally, her brother impatiently told her it was time to get out. Lindsay, Dad's estate is settled. You can go now. She understood immediately. Her brother was kicking her out of the house she grew up in. And the crazy part? Under any fair split, she should have had a share of this house too.
After dividing her father's inheritance, her mother sent her a cold message, telling her to take away the junk or it would be thrown out. When she returned to the house, she found that the lock had already been changed. After opening the door, her sister-in-law coldly warned her to remember to knock first next time. Then they pointed at a pile of her things and told her to move everything out as soon as possible. When the neighbor asked if she was moving out, she quietly said the house had been given to her brother. She had not even returned the small rental near the hospital yet. So at least she still had somewhere to stay. Back home, as she wiped her father's old military stamp, she suddenly noticed a loose screw, as if someone had tampered with it on purpose. That detail pulled her back to a night in the hospital, when her father woke up and called for her. Even then, her father still told her not to hate her brother, and not to hate her mother either. Then he told her he had already thought things through, and he would never let her lose out. Only then did she finally ask herself what her father had really meant by those words. At that moment, an old comrade of her father found her and said he had been waiting to contact her. He said her father had left something important for her, and the clue was hidden inside the military stamp. She carefully twisted open the military stamp, and a small note fell out from inside. When she opened it, what looked like a random note turned out to be a notarized gift document number. The note made it clear that her father knew he had wronged her, and he had already left everything he could. Only then did she understand that this was the real thing her father had secretly left behind for her. Without wasting another second, she called the lawyer and asked to meet him as soon as possible. The lawyer told her he had been waiting nearly a month because her father had come to him last October. Hearing that date, she froze, because that was exactly when her father had just been diagnosed with cancer. Then the lawyer told her the first thing her father had arranged before he died was for her protection. The truly valuable assets had already been transferred to her through a notarized lifetime gift. She asked why her father had not made a will, and the lawyer said it would only hurt her, because once inheritance began, her mother and brother would force her out again. But the second truth was even worse, because many of the so-called family assets were not assets at all. The first document showed that her brother used their father's name to guarantee a co-worker's debt of $1.2 million, but the co-worker had run away. Then came the online loan papers and the usury contracts, all signed in her father's name, but written by her brother. What stunned her most was that her brother had borrowed $2.8 million in their father's name. Even that so-called shop investment was a trap, because her brother tricked their father into selling the old home, only to leave him with a debt of $4 million. Another guarantee record brought back the court collection call she had received just 2 days before her father died. That call had warned her that the guaranteed company had defaulted, and even the house could be seized. Only then did she realize her brother's lies had turned her father's lifetime of work into more than $10 million in debt. The lawyer said her father had already sorted everything out months ago, and even the deposits were reserved for repayment. That was the truth her father had hidden for her. Whoever inherited the assets would also inherit the debt trap. Her father's old friend told her that before dying, he had legally transferred everything to her through a notarized lifetime gift, hiding it from the whole family. She then showed the first asset, a small apartment her father had quietly bought, modest in size but in a very good area. After that, she saw the savings. Not much money, but every bill had been scraped together through years of hardship. There was even a small project with old comrades, paying yearly dividends, and that too had been left to her. None of it looked remarkable, but together it meant everything to her, because her father had still managed to leave her a way out. When she asked why her mother and brother knew nothing, the old friend admitted her father had planned it that way. He then repeated her father's exact words: if they ever found out, his daughter would no longer have a home. Her father had little say at home, but in silence, he built her a hidden escape route, piece by piece. Then an inheritance lawyer was brought in, and she showed him the inheritance agreement her mother had handed to her brother. After reading everything, he warned that whoever inherited this estate would end up carrying the misfortune. She then took out the inheritance waiver her mother had forced her to sign and asked the lawyer to review it. After reviewing it closely, the lawyer gave a clear conclusion. The agreement had no loopholes, so she lost the inheritance but escaped the huge debts. Looking at the waiver, she realized it had now become the very thing shielding her from everything behind it. Meanwhile, the brother got fired, laughed it off, and boasted that a rich man like him no longer needed work. He went straight back to gambling, shouting, drinking, losing money, yet still acting like the $10 million was already his. Once the relatives heard the news, they swarmed in immediately, asking for bride money, house repairs, and whatever else they could grab. He agreed without a second thought, happily lending them money while soaking in every bit of praise from the relatives. Back home, the wife bought all kinds of things, including jewelry for herself and the mother, saying they had money now and needed the status. Then she started looking down on the house, saying it was too old and shabby, and pushed her husband to sell it for a better one. He barely hesitated, agreed right away, and even casually said they would go notarize the house into his name tomorrow. The next day, the daughter finished her own paperwork, notarized the inheritance waiver, and quietly completed every step for her father's gifted assets. Just then, her brother and sister-in-law spotted her there, and immediately pressed her to reveal what she was hiding in the bag. The sister-in-law grabbed her bag and threw it down, spilling out the metal her father left behind in the waiver. Holding back her anger, she said she was only there to notarize the inheritance waiver, making her brother believe she had fully stepped aside. Then the sister-in-law mocked her for taking the metal, making it clear they believed that was all their father had left her. Then the sister-in-law handed her the waiver and warned her to be sensible and stop fighting over the inheritance. When she asked for help paying the hospital debt, the brother shut her down instantly and refused to lend her anything. But moments later, his plan collapsed, because the office records showed the house title had already been locked. Just as she was heading to the bank to repay the credit card, she ran into her mother bragging that her son was rich and buying a big house. She then asked her mother for money, hoping to repay the medical bills she had covered with her credit card. But her mother only saw it as begging for money and refused to help. Seeing the gold bracelet on her mother's wrist, she asked for help. But her mother said the money was her brother's and scolded her for begging. Meanwhile, a relative nearby looked proud and openly admitted that he had just borrowed $200,000 from the brother with ease. Hearing that, the daughter coldly reminded her mother to get a written IOU first, or that money would likely never come back. Then the humiliation turned uglier, as the relatives mocked her for being unmarried and tried to marry her off for money. This time, she fired back, reminding that elder she had been married off the same way, asking what she was worth then, and telling her to stay out. After the daughter left, the mother got a call from her son, who complained that his sister caused trouble at the notary office and blocked the transfer. Her mother suddenly called and asked her to bring offerings home for her father's memorial, saying the whole family would gather there. The daughter immediately felt something was off, but because it was her father's memorial, she knew she still had to go. The moment she arrived, Her sister-in-law blocked the door and demanded to know what she had done to lock the house and stop the transfer. Holding back her anger, she said she came to honor her father, not to stand there arguing with anyone. But the sister-in-law refused to stop, insisting the daughter had been pretending to give up while secretly plotting behind them. When the sister-in-law even raised a hand, the daughter demanded proof that she had locked the house instead of more empty accusations. Then she fired back and exposed the sister-in-law for secretly taking family money to support her own brother. Cornered at last, the sister-in-law admitted it, and argued that money was part of their shared marital property. Just then, the brother walked in and heard everything, and the sister-in-law quickly claimed she had only given her brother $50,000. The brother's anger quickly faded, but their mother immediately blamed the daughter for costing him the house and trying to tear the family apart. She could only laugh at herself because they gave money to relatives and in-laws, yet guarded themselves from her like an enemy. Then they pressed her again, demanding to know what trick she used that stopped him from inheriting their father's house. She then explained that the deed had always been in their hands, and she only went to notarize the inheritance waiver. Instead of believing her, the whole family laughed at her face, treating everything she said like an obvious lie. So she gave one last answer. She never touched the house, had no deed, no key, and no chance. But the brother refused to believe her, saying only the two heirs could touch the house. She coldly asked if both were heirs, why she only got a medal. Hearing that, their mother immediately suspected she still wanted to fight for the inheritance. Seeing that words meant nothing, she took out her phone and decided to call the notary office herself. She read out the exact contract number and asked the office to check the progress of her inheritance waiver. A moment later, the answer came back clearly. The waiver was real. It was hers, and it was already effective. Only then did she look at them and say what hurt most. Unlike them, she would never destroy family ties for money. He angrily demanded to know what was really going on with the house, and she pointed everyone to the real issue. It may have already been mortgaged. The moment she said that, the mother and sister-in-law started blaming each other, each accusing the other of mortgaging the house. In an instant, the whole argument turned chaotic, because neither of them was willing to admit who had really touched the deed. Seeing their argument would never end, she said she was leaving, would never come back again, and would honor her father by herself. At that moment, an elder came over, took away the memorial items, and told her only a son could honor their father. Then her mother admitted she only used the memorial as an excuse to call her back and deal with the house. The elder said the transfer problem made no sense, then slipped and revealed he had taken the deed days ago, so she immediately questioned him. The elder immediately denied taking the deed, and the whole family turned on her, accusing her of stirring up trouble and falsely blaming others. She told them if they had dragged her back just to blame her for the block transfer, then yes, she did know why the house could not transfer. When her brother accused her of plotting, she fired back, asking if he knew the split was unfair and feared she would retaliate. Then she told him she was not trying to fight for anything because having her father's medal was already enough for her. After being cornered again and again, she gave her final answer. If they believed she caused it, then call the police. She finally said everything, telling them she had never been treated like family, and if she accepted this today, they would blame her for everything after this. And just then, someone suddenly arrived at the door and told that Elder the deed could not be processed for any business. The man told them the house had already been frozen by the court and could soon be seized and auctioned off. Hearing that, the whole family froze on the spot. But even then, they still refused to believe it. The man told them to stop arguing and go check the court summons, because the answer was already there. Watching them panic, she knew they had always thought she would fight for the house, but she never meant to compete, and now she saw them clearly, so she left. Then the sister-in-law found the court summons, and it clearly showed that both the savings and the house had already been seized. The brother's attitude changed at once. He had to raise money to repay the debt or lose everything, so he immediately demanded relatives return what he had lent them. But the same relative who once praised him now backed away at once, pretending to have no money to return. With nowhere left to turn, the brother secretly called his former boss to beg for his old job back, but the call was cut off. He immediately turned on his wife and forced her to get back every bit of the money she had given her brother. But the wife refused, insisting her brother had no job, no savings, and no way to return anything. The wife came up with one excuse after another to avoid paying it back, but the brother no longer wanted explanations, only the money. When he grabbed his wife's phone to call her brother for the money, he discovered she had sent not $50,000, but $500,000. Even then, the wife still defended herself, saying that as an older sister, helping her brother was only natural. At that moment, they started blaming the daughter again, saying she only gave up the inheritance because she already knew it came with huge debt. The brother immediately decided to find the daughter, because this burden was now far too heavy for him alone. Not long after, the mother showed up where the daughter lived, and coldly said she had just come to see her. The sister-in-law looked around the cramped rental with clear disgust, and the daughter coldly reminded them she ended up there after maxing out her cards for their father. Soon the brother stopped pretending and admitted that several guaranteed debts and loans were sitting under their father's name. Then he asked the real question. Had she known about the debts and given up the inheritance because of them? The daughter stayed calm and reminded them the waiver was never her choice. They were the ones who forced it. Then the numbers came out. The total debt under their father was about 12 million, and even after his assets, a huge gap remained. And after all that, he still dared to ask her to take on millions with him and help save the house. The daughter did not argue. She simply opened the inheritance waiver and read the clause aloud, giving up inheritance rights and taking no debts or obligations tied to it. When the legal path failed, her brother quickly changed tactics and started pressuring her with so-called family ties. She shot back at once, reminding them that when assets were divided, they said it was all their father's will. If the money and property were all his share, then the debt under the same name should be his share too. When reason no longer worked, the mother collapsed into crying, accusing the daughter of forcing her and her son to die. The daughter stopped her there and said that before they cried anymore, she would explain exactly where the debt came from. The first debt came when her brother secretly used their father's name to guarantee a co-worker's loan. And after that man ran, the guarantor owed $1,200,000. The second debt came when he forged their father's signature to take out online loans, reaching a total of $2,800,000. The third debt was 4,300,000 yuan. For a commission of 170,000, he tricked their father into a shop investment. And when the project collapsed, their father had to mortgage the house. The final debt came when he tricked their father into guaranteeing a company for 3,800,000 yuan. And after the company ran, their father was left to pay it. By the end, the math was brutal. Even after taking all the inheritance, the brothers still owed more than 2 million. She then thanked them coldly for forcing her to sign that flawless waiver, because it was the only thing that saved her. Hearing that, the whole family finally fell apart. But the daughter did not want to say another word and coldly told them to get out. Before it ended, the daughter made one final point. Their mother's favoritism had protected her brother for years and finally trapped him. Even at the very end, the mother still wanted her to repay the debt. But the daughter told her no. It was now her brother's and sister-in-law burden. She reminded her brother and his wife that his debt was marital debt, so his wife had to repay it too. Seeing the neighbors gather, the mother felt no shame. Instead, she cried downstairs and accused her daughter of letting the family collapse. She kept screaming for fairness, trying to turn the neighbors into witnesses, so her daughter would look heartless in public. Then she played the sacrifice card, saying she raised her for 30 years, paid for school, and got abandoned over some debt. Seeing the neighbors still confused, she pushed harder, claiming the father loved this daughter most, left the debt to the brother, yet she still refused to lend him money. The sister-in-law changed tactics too, humbly begging her to cover a small share while she and her husband handled the rest. But the neighbors were not fooled. They said they did not know the family story, only that she worked several jobs, paid her father's hospital bills alone, and made them think she had no family at all. Then even the landlord stepped in, pointing at her cheap rented room while the others stood there, dressed like they lacked nothing. So the daughter made everything clear. After her father died, her mother gave all the inheritance to her brother, while she got only a medal. Now his inheritance had become debt, and they wanted her to repay it. The brother claimed blood ties could never be cut, so she should take the debt. She fired back at once, asking why nobody mentioned family when she borrowed money to save their father. Under pressure, the brother blamed his wife, claiming she was the one behind everything. But the daughter had seen through everything. Since they never treated her like family, she no longer considered them family either, so his debt meant nothing to her. The crowd finally stood on her side. They began calling the family shameless, then drove them away in disgrace. Not long after, the brother called and claimed their mother had broken her leg. He said he needed to go borrow money, so she had to come take care of her. She understood it was another trap. When the money was divided, she was an outsider. Now they needed her. She was family again, so she decided to end it. Before leaving, she called her father's lawyer friend and told him that if he heard nothing from her within an hour, he should come to her mother's house and pick her up. The moment she walked in, the whole mood changed. Her mother immediately pretended she had missed her terribly. She grabbed a nearby chair and acted like she would smash it down. Her mother instantly jumped up and ran, exposing the fake broken leg on the spot. She told them to stop playing childish games and get to the point about what they really wanted. With the lie exposed, the brother showed his real plan. He wanted her to borrow high-interest money under her own identity. When she asked how she could ever repay it, the mother coldly replied that a girl would always find a way. Then came the cruelest part in her mother's eyes. The son was the family root, but the daughter was expendable. As if the loan scheme was not enough, more relatives arrived with an older man, clearly treating her like a deal to close. They praised her like livestock, discussing her age, fertility, and bride price right in front of her without any shame. To push the price higher, the relatives bragged that she could cook, clean, have children, and care for sick elders. Hearing them praise him so highly, She pointed at her sister-in-law and relatives and asked why they would not marry him themselves. When her mother accused her of tearing the family apart, the daughter fired back. She refused to borrow money for her brother, refused marriage, and said she came to cut ties. At that moment, the older man there for the arranged marriage told them to stop arguing, and calmly said he could still pay the bride price. But before agreeing, he looked her over and questioned whether the family had lied about her being untouched and inexperienced. Then he suddenly moved in for a closer look, and the room burst into chaos. Instead of protecting her, they coldly said that a daughter would marry sooner or later, and after raising her this long, they deserved something in return. The daughter fought back and begged them to let go, but nobody listened. Soon they watched the exits closely. As long as she could not escape, the marriage would be forced through. Outside the room, they were already celebrating. They planned to take the bride price first, then squeeze more money from the marriage later. Meanwhile, the daughter kept backing away and warned him this was a crime. But the older man only laughed and kept moving closer. She slapped him hard across the face without any hesitation at all. When the older man tried to hit her, she coldly warned that if he touched her even once, he would regret it for the rest of his life. With no one coming to save her, she decided to jump from the second floor, believing she would not get hurt if she adjusted her landing. The moment he reached out to grab her, she jumped from the second floor at once and landed safely on the ground. But she twisted her ankle as she got up. Even so, the family rushed after her, and her brother grabbed her again, forcing her to get more money. Just then, the lawyer finally arrived, stopped them on the spot, and demanded how they dared act so lawlessly in broad daylight. The daughter immediately exposed them, saying they took bride price and tried to force her into marrying an old man. But instead of denying it, the mother twisted the story and hinted the daughter must already have another man in mind. The moment she saw another man beside the daughter, the sister-in-law raised the bride price. The lawyer then slapped her across the face. That was when the lawyer stated his identity. He was her father's old friend, and he openly condemned the family for abusing her. Even then, the family still insisted this was only their private business, and no lawyer had the right to interfere. The lawyer cut them off and made it clear this was not a family dispute, because what they had done was already illegal. Then he listed it one by one: forced marriage, fraud, unlawful restraint, and possible sexual assault. Each charge pushed the family quieter. Still unwilling to stop, the mother argued that the girl came from her body, so arranging a marriage should be her right. The daughter immediately tore that excuse apart. They wanted her locked up, violated, and sold off, not properly married. Then the daughter revealed her strongest card. She had recorded everything they just said and did, and that recording was evidence. The moment she realized there was evidence, the mother changed again, cried loudly, played the victim, and claimed her daughter wanted to sue her. But the daughter did not waver. She reminded them she came here to cut ties, and from now on they were not to bother her again. Then she made her position clear. She would only pay the legal minimum support each month, and beyond that, they had no relationship. But the mother still thought the minimum support was too little. She kept pressuring her to repay her brother's debt too, or she would take her to court. At that point, the lawyer told her she could still work and had a son beside her, so court would only award even less. So the daughter made one last warning. If they sued, she would answer in court, and if they pushed harder, she still had evidence. Later, they refused the legal minimum support and demanded another negotiation. The daughter said that once it was over, she would leave this city forever. They cited other court cases, claiming others got $800 a month, so the legal $200 was far too low. Then they demanded $5,000 a month, but the daughter shut them down and told them to meet her in court if they thought they could win. Then they lowered it to $2,500 a month, but the daughter said the most she would give was $500, and they could never come find her again. After agreeing, they demanded one lump sum, claiming the mother would live to 100. At $6,000 a year for 40 years, that came to $240,000. The daughter told them that if she accepted this demand, they had to sign a contract cutting ties. The daughter confirmed that once they took this support money for their mother, they would cut ties completely, but the lawyer still advised monthly payments in case something changed later. But the family refused to listen. They kept urging her to hand over the money at once, as if that contract cutting mother and daughter apart meant nothing. So the daughter asked the lawyer to write it clearly. She would pay 40 years of support once, and future care would belong to the son. The moment they heard she could produce $240,000, the brother changed his face and started asking whether their father secretly left her money. She told him to ask their mother, and the mother clearly said their father had left her no other property. The lawyer printed the contract and read it aloud. The daughter would pay $240,000 in support, and future care for the mother would belong to the son. He also said the contract would be filed, notarized, and protected by law. They signed it right away. The moment the signatures were done, they started urging her to pay the support money, as if they could not wait one more second. When she was about to transfer it to their mother, the brother stopped her and told her to send it to him instead, and the mother agreed. After the lawyer confirmed the arrangement in the contract, The daughter transferred the money and calmly told them to check it. After the lawyer confirmed the arrangement in the contract, the daughter transferred the money and calmly told them to check it. Then the daughter transferred the money into the son's account, and they quickly checked and confirmed that the full payment had arrived. Then she told her mother to take care of herself from now on. Then she turned and left without a trace of regret, leaving them to live with the choices they had made. Then he immediately asked his wife for her brother's $500,000, and she promised it would arrive tomorrow. But the wife was lying. She had no intention of suffering beside him any longer, and she had already decided to do something. Seeing everything she had been through, the lawyer comforted her gently and asked what she planned to do next. The daughter said she had rented out the house her father left her, and soon she would leave this place to teach. Back at home, they celebrated like victors. The brother even said they could always invent another excuse and squeeze more money out of her later. Then the son told her the contract meant nothing, because no paper could cut blood ties, and the daughter would come back to care for her sooner or later. So they kept drinking and dreaming about their future, completely unaware that the collapse of this fake victory was already beginning. After they got drunk, she immediately took out his phone. When she saw he still had money, she transferred every last bit of it away. She also took her mother-in-law's gold bracelet, and swore she would never stay and repay that debt with him. The next morning their dream began to fall apart when they realized the wife had disappeared. At that moment, the mother realized her gold bracelet was gone, and the husband quickly checked his phone, only to find the money missing too. Moments later, officers arrived to seal their house. They said the property had been mortgaged, and ordered them to move out immediately. Not long after, they were thrown out. With the house sealed, they were left homeless. Then another blow landed because of the overdue debt. He had become a defaulter, and could no longer take flights or high-speed trains. With no house and no other option left, they could only go stay with another relative for a few days. But when they came to a relative's house asking for money and a place to stay, the relative called them defaulters, and told them to leave as soon as possible. The next relative refused too, reminding them that even a short stay before had already caused endless trouble inside the home. After being driven out, they decided to go find the daughter they had forced away. She threw away her phone card, looked around the small room she rented, decided to teach where her father was once stationed, and leave this city for good. A few days later, the mother and son ran to her old rental, banged on the door, and shouted that they were moving in. But when the landlord opened the door, she told them coldly that the daughter had already moved out and returned the place. Hearing that, the mother started crying again, claiming her daughter had abandoned her. The landlord warned that if they caused trouble, she would call police. The moment they heard about the police, their attitude softened at once, and they decided to rent the room and live there themselves. Then the mother paid 1 month's rent, and the two of them moved in. Later, the daughter learned from former neighbors that her mother had been asking everywhere about her, while making a living by collecting scraps. Even while collecting scrap outside, the mother kept stopping the landlord to ask about her daughter. But he only mocked her for raising a grown son on trash. Even then, the mother still refused to admit her son had become useless. Back home, the son drank all day and thought $5,000 a month was too little, not even worth his time. The mother still tried comforting him, but he only complained about being hungry, cursed the room, and ordered her to cook for him. Meanwhile, the daughter walked the road her father once walked. In that quiet place, she finally held onto the warmth he had left her. Back in the rental room, the mother returned from scavenging and found her son drinking all day and doing nothing. Then the mother finally broke down, saying she worked herself to exhaustion outside all day, yet came home to no water and no hot food. But the son only threw her old words back at her, saying housework was supposed to be a woman's job. Then he started listing every miserable job he had tried, while blaming all their suffering on the wife who ran away with the money. The mother told him to go find his wife, but as a defaulter, he could not take planes or high-speed trains and had no way to get to her. The mother finally softened. She admitted she could still barely support her son now, but the thought of how he would live after she died filled her with fear. Just then, the mother suddenly remembered she had picked up a letter outside. She picked up the letter, saw it was meant for her daughter, and opened it. What stunned them next was even bigger. It was a dividend agreement, and the amount under the daughter's name was $1.2 million. The son instantly lost control and demanded to know where the daughter's money came from, suspecting his mother had secretly left it to her. The mother swore she would never leave the daughter anything, because in her heart, everything belonged to her son. Then a terrifying possibility finally surfaced. The father might have secretly left the daughter a fortune they had never known existed. The son exploded on the spot, shouting that every bit of that money should have been his, not the daughter's. But the daughter had already vanished. With no number and no address, the son suddenly remembered the lawyer who always stood beside her. In the end, they decided their only chance was to find the lawyer and force the next clue out of him. The mother and son rushed to the lawyer with the document, demanding to know what this dividend paper really meant. The lawyer answered that it really was his sister's dividend agreement. What shocked them even more was this was not the only thing. The father had left the daughter a house, investment dividends, and savings too. The mother demanded to know how they missed it. Then the lawyer revealed the cruelest irony. Everything had been hidden inside the metal they despised most. The son exploded on the spot, shouting that all 3 assets should have been his, and that the daughter had already signed away her inheritance rights. But the lawyer corrected him immediately. These were not inheritance at all, because every one of them had already been placed in the daughter's name. The father had already protected the daughter's future in advance, leaving no space at all for anyone else to divide it. The lawyer then laid it all out. The son had already taken so much through debt, fraud, and schemes, and the father had covered more than enough. Even so, the mother kept asking where the daughter was and wanted her back. But the lawyer said he did not know, and their ties had already ended. From that moment on, the mother and son had only one thought in mind: find the daughter and take that money back. Back in the rental room, he poured all his anger onto his mother. Convinced she was the reason he had lost what should have been his, the mother panicked and kept insisting that everything she had ever done was for her son alone. But the son had already lost his mind. He shoved his mother down hard, while still muttering about that money. The mother weakly begged her son to take her to the hospital, but he kept muttering about the money and ignored her completely. Later, the daughter saw a news report and learned her mother had died in the rental room. The lawyer told her the funeral was already over, and she could not understand why it still ended like this. Then the lawyer told her the support money she sent for their mother had been secretly taken by her sister-in-law, and that her brother went mad after their mother died. She asked the lawyer to help her find her sister-in-law. He agreed, and said this already looked like fraud, so they would definitely win the lawsuit. Looking at the news of her mother's death, the daughter quietly asked if she had ever regretted it. Since her mother was gone, she no longer hated her. A week later, the lawyer found the woman who ran off with the money sooner than expected, and brought her back to face the daughter. The woman still tried to act pitiful, but the daughter exposed her at once, accusing her of stealing the support money and causing their mother's death. When the daughter said she would sue her, the woman completely broke down. She kept begging for mercy, saying she had been used, abandoned, and left with nowhere to go. She told the daughter the reason: her parents had taken that money and thrown her out, and now she had no way to repay it. But the daughter refused to be compared with her. She said their situations were not the same, because even after everything, her father had still left her a home. But the daughter refused to be compared with her. She said their situations were not the same, because even after everything, her father had still left her a home. Looking at the medal her father left her, the daughter felt grateful that he had left her not just a home, but also the courage to face the world. Then she took one last look at the old home, and saw her deranged brother mistaking a utility pole for her. Seeing what he had become, she could only leave in silence. At the end, the daughter finally received the best answer. Her students messaged her that they had all gotten into key high schools, and were waiting to celebrate with her. Thank you for watching.